All right. Hey, Jonathan, I'm so excited to have you on today. And I was actually deciding what we're going to cover today. And there's so much. So I hope you have a lot of time that you blocked out because we
Oh
are going to
yeah,
cover everything from compliance to tech to mindset to where the industry is heading. So are you ready to rock?
I'm ready. I'm always ready. I mean, I got enough time for you, Tiffany. So you just let me know. Let's do this thing. So,
I know you do. I don't know. We always find ways to make time for each other, which is so crazy because we both have insane schedules. So for the audience, I know a lot about you, but for the audience, give us a quick intro on how long you've been in the business, where
yeah.
you're at right now. Go ahead and give me the intro.
So I've been in the mortgage industry about 15 years. This is my 15th year in the industry. I was working at a golf course and I'm like, all right, what do you do for work? And they're like, I do mortgage loans. I'm like, okay, cool. And you're here on a Wednesday. Yep. What do you do for work? Mortgage loans. I'm like, well, it looks like I'm going to get into mortgage loans. So basically, I got my license. I went to go work for one of the lenders who is a member at the course. She basically gave me the keys to the castle. It's like, hey, she was doing like 100 million at the time. I'm like, I'm gonna just go ahead and start learning under her. I got my teeth cut in the industry. I worked on close to 200 transactions like my first 12 months. So it's just like, all right, what do I have to do to get to this level? And then eventually she was sort of transitioning out, and I essentially took over the branch location that we were in at the time. So it was good, I basically got to see like how do high producers get business and like what are they specifically doing, and then I went to go and implement that for myself. So I'm very fortunate to have like she honestly I texted her the other day. I was like, you are the reason why I'm still in this industry. I'm very thankful and grateful for the mentorship that you gave me, but ultimately it's crazy to think now from where I started to like where I am making like $8 an hour at a golf course to like first 2 years was like six figures, right? So it's like it's definitely an industry that you can grow very quickly, and if you have the right mentorship and everything else. So
Yeah. And this was post 2008, right?
yeah,
So
the
you're
first loan was a $65,000 Cal Halfa deal. So
ooh,
yeah, I think I made like $600 on it, and it was a foreclosure fixer upper. Like it was it was. I mean, this was like HUD Repo Central. Like every loan that we were doing was some sort of foreclosure or short sale. So obviously, it's kind of transitioned a little bit, but yeah, get the teeth cut with the smaller deals. Don't take. And that guy's now bought 7 houses with me. So start small, guys. Those are the guys who step up into other transactions down the way. So
yeah. Absolutely. And so now you are working with my team and lots of very successful LOs, loan officers across the United States. So tell us like what capacity, like how are you helping? How are you serving this mortgage industry?
yeah, so I've 2020, 2021. Obviously phones are ringing off the hook, right? Like everything is just going crazy. We're working from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., falling asleep for 4 hours, drinking a Red Bull right when we wake up and taking calls again, right? It's just chaos, right? So during that time, the main thing that I realized is my systems were not in place, right? So I did not have proper systems to handle the amount of scale. Literally leaving money on the table because one, I'm not getting back to people quick enough. Two, I mean, like I couldn't handle the amount of volume that we have. So essentially, I started building out different systems for my team. And fast forward 2021, 2022, it was like, okay, like I have a system that's been built out now. We basically took a branch that was doing 30 million in production and then hit 80 million in production, right? And that was because of systematizing, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got burnt out, right? I think that we all like, for those of us who are doing like heavy amounts of volume during that time, it was one of those things where it's like, if I have to take one more loan application right now, like I might just scream, right? So that was kind of me. And so taking a look at it from the perspective of like, okay, well, I have this awesome system that I built. And then I started interviewing other top producers. And it was like, well, what is the one thing that you attribute to your success? And one of the things that they all talked about was the systems that I have in place. And it got me thinking, well, if they have these systems in place, and these are $300 million a year producers, these aren't, they weren't on, they were above me. They were what I wanted to be on. And so I really started deep diving into how can I systematically build out the mortgage professional, right? Like how can I take somebody who's doing $5 million a year and take them to 15 or 20 million a year, right? And the main thing that I kept coming back to was they don't have the proper systems in place. So I basically took all the knowledge that I had gained from one, building out my own systems, and I started implementing that for other mortgage professionals, right? And what ended up happening was I would see a bunch of people that would come back to me and they're like, hey, this is too hard, right? Because I was implementing Jonathan's systems, I wasn't implementing their systems to match their workflow. So I ended up scrapping everything. I put my thinking hat on and I spent probably close to about 100 to 200 hours redesigning systems to make it as simple as possible for any loan officer to be able to plug and play their existing systems. And that all of a sudden took off. So now I have close to over 1,000 mortgage professionals using a system that I've built. Um, I have people emailing and texting me constantly. Like I had one guy literally yesterday just text me. He's like, hey, we just went from 2 applications to 10 applications in a day with what we've implemented, which is huge, right? So my whole mindset has now shifted to how can I help mortgage professionals automate their back end, automate their system, automate their lead outreach, and one, duplicate and replicate themselves, right? We want to be focusing on
Absolutely.
profit producing activities, right? And so a lot of the times as loan officers, we're basically a bunch of firefighters because we're constantly having to, one, provide updates, two, work on conditions, like do all this other kind of stuff. And I wanted to basically shift that where the loan officer can utilize systems and technology to do that hard part for them, where they're going out and focusing on building a brand, shaking realtors' hands, sitting client meetings, doing all that other kind of stuff. So that leads me to where I am today. So
Yeah. And yeah, I always say in my events, systems is save yourself significant time, energy, and money. So if you don't have a system, then you're screwed. I mean, this is where the reactive, check your email, just kind of head to the office, hope that a realtor randomly gives you a deal because we
correct.
hope that they're better marketers than us, or somebody pinged them on Zillow because they found their dream home. They're not ready to, haven't applied for a loan yet. It's like there's no system. Referrals are reactive. Having a system makes it scalable. It makes
Correct.
it predictable. It makes it profitable. So when you say system, the number one system that I want to talk about today is the CRM. I mean, systems could be when do you work your pipeline backwards to forwards,
Correct.
closed, funding, CTC. That's a system. Checking email only in the morning and then one time during the afternoon, celebrating your wins and successes at the end of the day, doing your Friday morning batch work on video. That's all a system. But the system, give me a little bit about the system you're actually specifically speaking to.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I tried a lot of them. I basically like I went from Shape to Jungo to Surefire to like ClickFunnels with Hot Prospector. I mean, like I've tried them all, right? So and don't get me wrong, like there's a lot that you could do with those systems, but I went to then find a system, what can I build and have basically a playground and a sandbox to be able to say, okay, like it's going to take me a little bit of time to learn it, but now I could build these crazy things inside of it. So I chose GoHighLevel, and I know that you've used GoHighLevel as well, right? Um, so the downside to GoHighLevel is it has so much stuff. It's basically shiny object syndrome on steroids, which is for us loan officers, we're mostly ADD, right? We're bouncing
Yep.
from
Say it
one
all the
thing to the
time. Yep.
next, right? And so what I focus on, because it's basically a platform that allows for you to build whatever you want on it. And I was actually on a call, I was doing your CRM training here a little bit earlier, and the first thing that I asked was, I don't know what I want the system to do. And I'm like, okay, that's good, right? Like it's good in one way, it's bad in another way, right? Because it's good because you know where you're stuck at, right? But what's bad is you've had a system and now we need to go and implement and build. So what's the one thing that we need to focus on first? Making money, right? So what are different automations or what are different systems that I can use to make me more money now, right? The next thing is what can I then build to make me more money in the future, right? So those are like the long-term nurture campaigns. Those are like the drips, and those are all the realtor outreach stuff, because we know it's going to take 6 months to develop a referral partner relationship, right? Like we might get somebody sending us business now, but the very one thing that I said to actually on the call today was like, have you sat down and thought what can produce me money now? And like 60% of people were like, no, which, I mean, we have to focus on these profit producing activities, right? So,
Jonathan, I'm just going to stop you there for a second. Every time I ask, so one of the things I do in Ignite is we talk about like, what are your three through lines? Like, what are your three ways that you are going to make money? And somebody said, well, I do a local caravanning thing. I've done it for 20 years. We go around to open houses. I'm like, hold on. That's like brand awareness. That's just like, hey,
correct.
remember me? That's not a through line. That's not marketing. It's not lead gen. That's a reactive type of brand awareness where, hey, maybe it gives you a deal here and there because someone remembers you exist, but it's not a through line. And I'm always shocked, and I'm sure, let me know if you agree with this, always shocked at how many people are very unclear on how to build out three different ways. Like, okay, I run Facebook ads and I get call
Yeah,
bookings. I run my CRM and I send out an email blast to my past clients, on a 6-week email sequence, nurturing, giving value, right?
correct.
And
Yep.
and then the other one, replace it with X, work your dream 100, do some social media videos. It's mind-blowing. And when you say, awareness is the first step to solving a problem, if you're unaware of like what direction you're heading, how are you going to be able to reverse engineer a plan? And I think the CRM and GoHighLevel is same, is such a great asset to cover all your bases. This is lead magnets, reaching out to relationships, lead tracking, lead pops from Facebook ads into there. Everything is automated. So why go high level? I know you and I kind of know the answer, but
Sure.
call it out for the audience. Why go high level? And what do you think about that versus Surefire, Total Expert, some of the other ones?
Yeah, I was looking, so I looked at it from a cost standpoint, right? So with Surefire, I was still using ClickFunnels, which I love ClickFunnels. I think it's still great, but GoHighLevel does the same thing that ClickFunnels does, right? So rather than trying to take all these different systems and duct tape them all together with Zapier, I can build everything inside of one system and have everything operate inside of one platform versus, okay, now I got to log into this one here. And now I got to log into this one here. And I have to make this one talk to this over here. Right. So there's a benefit to one having one system on your screen at all times. Right.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, shoot, I forgot to log into my ClickFunnels account to make sure that this is firing properly. Right. Or
I
like
have
my hot
Zapier,
prospector.
Scipio, ClickFunnels,
Yeah.
Active Campaign, and to get all those to zap and talk and click was insane. Go high level was like, phew. And also,
Mm-hmm.
we know that virtual assistants in the outside of United States that are very inexpensive and they make a great living
Right.
from us using them as a resource. They know go high level,
All of
right?
them do. Yeah, most of them. I mean, like I have 4 guys on my team that know more about the system than me. And like these guys are complete rock stars, and like they've been using the platform since it came out. They've used it for other companies, so it's like it's plug and play. Hey, you're coming into my system. Oh, great. I already know how to use it. Okay, cool. So, that's where like, and don't get me wrong, it is a beast. Like it does so much, right? But again, it's a matter of systematizing and having those systems in place to then be able to hand off to a virtual assistant or an executive assistant who can then operate for you within the account, right? So I was just on a call with my buddy Dan, and he's in Dallas with me. He runs a VA loan department for Instant Mortgage. He's got 2 virtual assistants that know more about GoHighLevel than he does. So what Dan is doing is, yes, he's using this platform. He's not logging in. He's having Aisha, his assistant, who's rocking and rolling for him, do it. She's handling the text, the calls, and everything. But guess what? she's acting and operating as if she is Dan, right? Which allows for Dan to be running his events, meeting with realtors at coffee appointments, right? Aisha's handling things from in the back end, and his realtors don't know none the difference, right? He's duplicating and replicating himself by one, using systems, and two, using VAs, right? So, and that's allowed for him to scale from mid-level producer to now, he's one of the top loan officers in his entire company, right? Because he took the time to build his systems inside of the platform and then found a VA that already knew the systems, already knew how to go in there and do X, Y, and Z, right? So at the end of
So
the day, it's,
have you ever noticed that winners always win?
yeah.
Winners always win.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the phrase that realtors and lenders aren't going to be completely wiped out right now with AI
Correct.
and automations, but the loan officer or the realtor, any entrepreneur that's implementing AI will take your job. So the winners that are winning are using AI, they're using automations, they have a virtual assistant. It's just about seeing past. My 6 month plan is to get my CRM set up, get my lead magnets, my niches built out, get everything in place, and then you hand it off to a virtual assistant, and then you can go do everything that you were just talking about. Now, a big limiting belief or a big question that comes up is compliance. So
Mm-hmm.
can you speak to that on how you and I have had lots of talks about compliance, and tell me like how you're able to, what if somebody has Arrive and Encompass and all this, and if they have Salesforce and it's forced to be used as a CRM, but you want to go use GoHighLevel, give me some of the workarounds, some of the conversations that you've had of people that are winning through that.
Yeah, so couple of things. So like my company currently uses BytePro as our LOS system, right? BytePro does not integrate with GoHighLevel, right? Arrive and LendingPad, those are web-based systems. They do integrate directly with high level, but what we focus on, like, so for instance, I just connected somebody's Arrive system for them. We are not pushing any sort of compliant ish, like no social security numbers are going through the system, no like pertinent data that's going to put anybody at compliance risk is going into the system, right? One, I don't believe that those systems, one, allow for that to happen, but two, we would not push it in even if they did, because then we have, hey, this person's social is in here, this person's relevant information is in here too, right? So I would, like, for instance, I have a LOS system, or I have a document request system that connects to my BytePro. I could request documents through GoHighLevel, but I don't. We have it go directly into the LOS system, right? And I kind of train people on the same parameters too, right? So in that case, I would be using GoHighLevel more as my marketing engine to bring me more leads, but then two, in addition to that, to bring me more referral partners, right? So what can I build inside of the platform to bring me more people who are going to refer me, keep me top of mind, do those different types of things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm probably not having it run my, hey, your loan has funded campaign. Like, it can do that, but I'll leave that with BytePro because my company has already had that built inside of their BytePro, right? Now, from the standpoint of people who are doing that, like, so there are people who connect their Arrive or their LendingPad and they literally have everything run through GoHighLevel. That's completely fine too, right? Because basically you're automating your touch points, right? We have touch points during the loan. I know you talk a lot about this too, but it's like, hey, when a loan happens, what milestone do you want to go out? Right? So you have a video. I would add that into my GoHighLevel account and I push that through my GoHighLevel account, not my LOS system. Right. If I remember correctly, it's like 17% of companies in the entire United States now use GoHighLevel as their main platform. That's medical companies, that's loan companies, that's real estate companies. Like, there's a company I'm working with, which is a general contracting company. I did their GoHighLevel build out for them. Like, they're all turning to this platform to help them automate. So they've taken a ton of security measures when it comes to like bringing in specific things that not make that data accessible from the outside. And granted, like they're a public company now. Like I would very much guarantee like a ton of security has gone into protecting all the different information that goes into their system. So
And I already I always have a kind of go-to disclaimer that, hey, don't do anything that's going to go, always check with your compliance.
correct.
But if you go to compliance and you can't run ads because you can't have a pixel and you can't do video and you can't talk about your company online, then you can't have your own CRM, or the CRM that they have is confusing, or you can't take your data with you when you leave. Oh my gosh. I mean, now it's like you might want to question what company you work for,
Correct.
because you go master a CRM and you go make the cold calls and the buy the realtors that don't have any deals going anyways, don't know how to market the way that you and I teach our students. So you go around and do all that stuff because you can't do what you and I are talking about now. You might be at the wrong company. So a big thing that I question is, why would you go in and master Salesforce or Bonzo or Surefire, something that your company, no knock to those those CRMs, but why would you go in and master that if you might not stay at that company forever? Or what if the company gets bought out by a bigger fish and they use a different CRM? You know how long, I mean, what would you say the average time is to like really master a CRM
Yeah, it's like
if you go
six
all in?
months, 6 months to a
6 months.
year, right? I mean, you can probably do it in some cases in shorter time. I will let you know there's a lot of mortgage companies moving to go high level, right? Like I work with probably 6 or 7 large scale companies that have hundreds of loan officers who are utilizing go high level. They're all moving to this platform, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, let's take it one step further. So my brand is me. People use me because of me. They don't use me because of the company that's behind me, right? I never lead with, oh, by the way, I work with so and so. They can care less, right? And I mean, this might, put me in the hot seat or something, but I mean, like I as a loan officer need to own my data, right? Like I need to own those contacts, right? So, because just like you said, I mean, let's say that my company currently goes under and with it goes my CRM. I'm basically starting from scratch again. And I've already
Yep.
done that. It's like I've already done that. I'm not planning on going back. So, I, as the loan officer, need to own my data list and my data sources and where they're going, right? Now, granted, from a compliance standpoint, like, yes, we do need to make sure that everything that we put out there is compliant, but at the end of the day, I am the brand, not the bank behind me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I always have to laugh when I have, students that they go rogue, us entrepreneur ADD spirits. We run around and we go chase shiny objects, even though, I have students in Ignite. They're like, hey, Tiff, I signed up for this template that my company gives me a bunch of canned, boring scripts, Jonathan. It would, you would fall over. Canned thing with this template, this border that goes around the video with the company colors. I'm like, no, 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 no. Great for you trying to get on video, great for you to try to, like, get some framework to your social media messaging, but what if you leave the company? Once again, I mean, the average lender stays like 2 to 5 years at the
Correct.
most at a company. You want your whole Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn all to be blue and yellow, or red and white or something, a company that I've worked at before. You got to start over again. So you're exactly spot on. It's your personal brand. You've got to own the data. You got to work at a company that's willing to take the email route and not continue to be the dinosaur fax machine. Because AI, would you agree that this is really just about, like, it's here for you and the winners are winning with it? It's just about getting our industry to the adoption of it. There's
Yeah.
still, I had to fax something the other day and I'm like, who even, I forgot how to even pronounce the long version of, what is it? Facsimile. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the
Facsimile or
hell?
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's simile. I'm like, who cares? We shouldn't be faxing anyways. But AI is where it's at. CRMs, it's where it's at. Having a list, reaching out, automating, duplicating yourself, having AI work for you. this is where the fork in the road is in the industry. You can keep doing the dinosaur stuff and you'll be extinct, right? I
Yep.
mean, I would say you got about 6 months to a year before people are really going to either get out of the business that are going to, and become extinct, or go, okay, you know what? There must be something to this CRM. There must be something to actually not just rattle off my phone number at the end of a video, but actually have a calendar link or an automation, DM or comment the word link. So why are we stuck at this fork in the road? Like, what do you think it is on why it's so hard to get our industry? Because people are doing entrepreneurs or digital marketing, they're doing stuff all over. Why do you feel, Jonathan, that it's so hard to get people to jump over the fence from the dinosaur to the real world 2025 and beyond? What's going on with us?
Yeah, I think, like we've seen so many things come and go so quickly. Um, like remember Clubhouse? Clubhouse was like the next big social platform and then it was
Yeah, I
gone like
tried
in
that.
span. Yeah, it was cool. I'm not going to keep using it, right? So I do think people kind of like they're hesitant, right? And so like through hesitation, it's like I'm not quite ready to adopt this. I'm wanting to see what other people are doing, right? And that's where kind of like I think it's the wrong mindset. I know you talk a lot about mindset. I talk a lot about mindset too, but I feel like a winning mindset is like, oh, I'm going to implement this on top of what I'm currently doing, right? Because that's what the top, like, I just had a call with a guy in Nashville, Tennessee, and like we implemented an AI bot in his business. He's already doing 150 million this year, like on top of what we're about to do with the AI bot, right? So that guy, like literally, call to implementation was 2 days. And that's what winners are doing. They're jumping on this because they already know, hey, even if I'm the test case with this is going to be supplemental to what I'm currently doing, right? And I think there's the main hesitancy is also because everybody's so like the mindset is to I want to wait and see. I'm in a wait and see mentality. And that's not what we need to be doing. We need to keep pushing through the different barriers. It's like, we got to keep progressing forward. And we already see that with like AI is already progressing forward. The call bot that I had 6 months ago is not the same call bot that I have now because it's gotten that much better in the next 6 months. And the guy who waited 6 months ago to get it is now like, well, wait, where do I start? What do I do? The guy who implemented it 6 months ago is like, all right, I already got it implemented inside of my whole system. Right.
Yeah.
So, we kind of got to, for lack of a better word, jump on these trains now, take these, I don't want to call them risks now, but it's like we have to take action now, right? We can't wait because the guys who are waiting are the guys who will not be in the industry for very much longer,
The
right?
cost of inaction is, I tell my students, picture $10,000 being wasted minimum by not investing in your own tools, knowledge, your own earning power. They're waiting for rates to come down when basically picture flushing $100. Oh my gosh, you and I were talking about this, and I've been thinking about it ever since. Picture, I did the math on what you and I were talking about, the $100 bill. Picture flushing down the toilet once an hour for 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, for a month. That's $10,000. And
Yep.
that's minimum cost of inaction from not really investing in your own earning power. I think we as an industry look at, maybe I'll buy some trigger leads, maybe I'll pay for some Google ads, maybe all this, maybe all that. And that's all external, like you're putting your hopes, dreams, and visions into some guy sitting in a, girl sitting in a cubicle at Google to build you some cheesy canned ads. And you're like, I paid $800 a month for that and it didn't work. Well, you can invest in mentorship into learning these things yourself just to be good enough to be dangerous and pass it off to the virtual assistants that go high level, like a boss, that know how to post your stuff on social media. I mean, you and I built out a content, well, you definitely did it, but you definitely did it for my students. But we, had a meeting of the minds to pre-schedule the content. Here's where you put your milestone videos for us as an industry to not have any presence on social media, not have any Google reviews. Maybe people are still marketing on Yelp. For to not have a scalable business, to not have a CRM chosen, let alone mastered. When I ask people in my events, have you, what CRM are you using? It's like none, none. Well, we have Surefire, but okay, how many of you are using it? Not me, thinking about it a little bit. Okay, how many of you have mastered it? None.
Yep.
So this is with every I used to think this was bullshit when my old boss at Wells Fargo, and I loved her, huge amount of respect, but I thought she was just throwing phrases at us that didn't really work. She'd say, "Oh well, wherever a problem is, it's really an opportunity," but it's true. It
Correct.
really is. The problem with the industry is we have no systems. No, and I'm saying, obviously the winners are always winning, but trust me, I talk to hundreds, if not thousands of people through my events month
Hmm.
to month. I would say, what percentage would you give it that aren't doing video, that aren't having their CRM master, don't know what a lead magnet is, don't have their
90%.
niches? 90. I was going to put 90 on it too. So
Yeah.
that's an opportunity. So you and I and all the bosses that we're training, the people that you train outside of Ignite and my students in Ignite is in my coaching program, they're ahead of the curve. They're the 10 percenters that are actually doing these things. It's so easy because your competition, the bar is so low. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like content is brand, right? And I mean, like what's the first thing that people do when they talk to you after they talk with you to find out if you're legit? Go
If
check your
yeah, they go
reviews.
look me up.
They'll
Yeah.
look you up. They'll see your social media profile, all that other kind of stuff. So if you have a Facebook page with 3 likes, 0 posts, like you're not legit. Like you're not. They're gonna go
I have
find
a
the next
hundred
guy.
and something five-star reviews on Google, and people, I'm like, give me a nugget, give me a takeaway from Ignite or Invincible Lender or one of my events, and it's just stacked with five-star. One bad review, one. So I'm like, that kept me up at night. But I'm
Got
like, wait a
one bad
minute,
review too.
like, yeah, but
It's from my
there's always people who are
processor.
gonna people. But if that's not enough to convince you, that to be researchable and findable, where someone can say, "Wow, she's got 110 or whatever five-star reviews," they can find her all over Facebook, or I have, I don't know, whatever, thousands of followers on Instagram. You got to, if somebody's Googling your name and they can't find you, of course you're the dinosaur. Of course you're
Correct.
not going to get the deals. And what's even crazier is the millennials, the wave of buyers that are expected to be coming in the upcoming years. These aren't people like my cute little mom that would never think to Google somebody and look them up on social media,
Yeah.
but she also has plenty of money, paid off house, lives on my property in her own house with plenty of investments, and she's not going to be Googling anybody for a loan or to buy or sell. So the people that are the wave of buyers coming in, you better believe they're looking for you on YouTube and Instagram and Google, right?
So do you think that most loan officers' main weakness is their brand?
I think it's being, there's a lot to unpack there with that question, but it's really just playing so small, getting
Hmm?
on a video and saying, "Oh, hey, it's Tiff with XYZ Mortgage. Rates should be coming down soon. Call me for a pre-approval. Visit my website today. Happy Monday." It's like, what? I mean, we're either in social media or in life, we're looking for admiration, we're making it about us, or we're looking to give inspiration, we're looking to nurture and give value.
Correct.
And so when we're playing small, it's like kudos to anybody that wants to harness technology. That's the most successful entrepreneurs. They harness technology that is fearless to get on video, or either or just doing it afraid. So I can't, knock somebody that's done a script like what I just rattled off, but it's really playing small. Imagine when you have your niche nailed down and you're super clear and you're just playing big and you're calling out three top misconceptions of a first time homebuyer. Number one, number two, number three. You really know how to give value and bend
Correct.
time through doing that. So I really think that we just fall into this cheesy playing small category. I'm an old dog. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, or technology's too hard for me, or you don't understand. I live in a small town. You don't understand. I live in a big town. Every realtor already has a lender. Rates are too high. Nobody's buying my community. It's like, well, okay, but you're licensed in the whole state and you have
Right.
Facebook ads and Instagram that you can go blow it up in the where the opportunity is. So, in a nutshell, there's so much that goes underneath the umbrella of just really playing small, letting those limiting beliefs get the best of you. I think that's like problem number one. Like I hear it all the time. You don't understand, Tiff, I'm unorganized, or I'm not smart like you. It's like what I always tell myself I'm not smart. I just have to start and I just go. I'm not super
So
highly
you telling me you
intelligent.
take initiative?
I just
You
do
just
it.
do
I
it?
just do it. Yeah, but I had to write a post-it note, Jonathan, that said, learning is not scary, it's fun. Because when I went to dive into Go High Level, when I went to go into Upwork and try to start interviewing VAs or, set up my Calendly and connect it to Zoom and learn the little clickety clacks of Zoom, yeah, I mean, it gave me a little anxiety, but that's where, you just have to say, like, I appreciate overwhelm because that means I'm growing. There's no way that you can say, one of my students said, uh, oh, I tried Bonzo, I hated it. Oh, I tried Jungo, I hated it. So confusing. And I tried GoHighLevel, and it's just so mind blowing. All right, well, there might be a little bit of an issue with just getting frustrated, not moving through that frustration
Yeah.
and learning. If you just aim to, I had to set a phone alarm, which is a great thing that I set it, write a note to remind my students to do this, Jonathan, in the trainings. But I tell them all the time, set your phone alarm for 15 minutes a day, noon every Monday through Thursday, and just go learn the clickety clacks of GHL. Go, okay, I'm just going to promise myself that I'm just going to click around and you're going to find things if you do it anything for just 15 minutes a day for a whole year, which it won't take you a whole year to master your CRM. But generally speaking, the stats are if you do the same thing for 15 minutes a day for a year, you're better at that thing than 90% of the world. Imagine if you just dicked around, for lack of better words, with your CRM for 15 minutes a day with no expectations. Oh my gosh, like you would be a master at it just by doing. The problem is, I'll see on my students' daily sheets. I know for those of you that are listening to this and not watching this, but I give my students a daily sheet. One of the needle movers, I have them pick out 6 needle movers per day. And one of them was she put, go high level and set up my funnel and lead magnets. That is not a big rock for the day. That's like a month-long
Yeah.
project that you got to get granular about. And so, between the limiting beliefs and really just not practicing what I love, which is the law of right action, not taking aligned action to get you. If you want to close 10 loans a month, you better be ready to master your CRM, go learn about it, go learn what a lead magnet is, prepare to hire a virtual assistant, know where to find them, and just map it out. Because if you map it out, then you'll
Yep.
know when you fall off the train tracks how to get back on. And we all fall off the train tracks. But I'll tell you, when they master the CRM that you've built out for us, Jonathan, the world is their oyster. They will have more time and money freedom than
Mhm.
they ever dreamed. It's only hard at first because it's new, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I always attribute it to like, okay, so when we let's say we go to a different company, we get a new LOS system, we are required to know that LOS system, right? The company makes it a stipulation that we need to then go in there
So
and
true.
know it, right? It's the exact same thing with the system, right? But we think it's kind of like a magic button where it's like, oh, turn stuff on, deals start flowing. No, like I always recommend too, like the best the best people who are crushing it right now, they have taken pen to paper, mapped out what they want the system to do, and then built those systems, right? And like again, the Scott, who's the guy who's doing 300 million a year, like he literally showed me he wrote out the initial wireframe of his CRM on a napkin because he sat down, he was literally like at a restaurant writing it out, right? Like we don't plan for that kind of stuff, right? We're so reactive in the industry that it's like, oh, I got this email, I got to respond to right away. Oh, I have this person calling me right now. Instead of like, no, I need the time block and take the time to map it out, write it on a sticky note, pen to paper, do whatever, and like actually take the time to map out what are my processes, what will
Yeah.
take me to the next level, right? And
We
then
we we become so reactive, Jonathan. It's just I I had to build out so many systems about when you get a lead, you do a pre-recorded video that's in your cell phone. You have
mhm,
the referring partner start a group text. Now you got their phone number, by the way. And because how many people tell you, I got a lead for you, I got a referral, I gave him your name. You're like, give me the phone number, give him
Cool.
the
Yeah,
email so I
that's
can.
awesome. Like you didn't give me anything.
Exactly. So you start a group text, and while you're working your pipeline or while you're moving the needle movers that I have my students map out, now you just copy and paste a quick lead video. You drop your Calendly link or whatever kind, the link that's in our
Yep.
CRM, and there you've reached out to them. You've also trained people how to treat you. You've now it's like, hey, can't wait to
Establish
talk to
those
you about your.
boundaries.
Right, boundaries. You don't just pick up the phone this and drop your CTC that you're working on. And how mad is that real estate agent, both of them on listing agent included, gonna be when you are like, I got a lead, and you stopped working on the CTC and you go take a lead because we're just reactive. So it's really like, man, having a system, pushing through those limiting beliefs, taking the aligned action to get where you really want to go. But, I talk to so many people that I'll say, what's your perfect vision for what you want to do in the loan industry 6 months from now? Give me like, how many vacations do you want to take? How many hours do you want to work? What CRM do you want to use? How many units do you want to close? What's your average commission? How much money do you want to have in your bank? No clue. And I
Yep.
was like this too. So this is like everything I talk about, I've either done it. I've either won or I've made a big mistake and I talk about it. So it's like learn from my mistakes, learn
Mhm.
from my wins, but I've done the bad scripts, I've done the cheesy videos, I've done the still graphics that say apply for a loan, visit my website today. I didn't know what a call to action was. I'd check email and hope a referral landed in my lap. I mean, I've done it all wrong. And it's crazy to me how many of us are still doing it wrong.
Yep.
It's not the market, it's our lack of marketing. My friend said in 2021, Tiff, I'm just going to go lay on a beach. And when the rates come down, because we thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
six
Like it
months
was all
maybe.
6 months later. We'll be right back at it.
Well, she is 4 years down the road. She's extremely tan. And she was at my house swimming last week. And I'm like, man, you weren't kidding about waiting for rates to come down, laying on a beach because she has property in Hawaii. And she's super tan and rates still haven't come down. But do you agree that people have still bought houses? So
Yep.
there's markets out there to go
There's
grab
people that
market
have
share.
refinanced. I mean, I've
Yeah.
refinanced people that have like I got them into the 2.5 and they're calling me like, hey, I'm going through a divorce right now. I got to cash out, right? I've got this property that I want to refinance because I'm going to be buying 5 more investment properties, right? It's like we're so limited on rates, right? We're not creating any sort of opportunity for us. We're not educating our clients on, hey, here's what you could be doing while we're waiting for rates, right? I brought up George, who is my $65,000 buyer. Like he's bought 7 properties with me. I just did his refinance because he needed, oh, actually, not a refinance. We did a HE loan with the expectation of he's going to use that HE loan to buy 4 more rental properties, right? So again, it's the education process because he's like, hey, I can utilize my existing equity now to finance these other purchases. Yes, and honestly, that's he got an email that was a drip campaign at the right time, right? And picked up the phone and called me. We got everything handled, right? That was a $4,000 check in my pocket, right? So
Hmm.
again, it's about like the process of educating. I moved to Texas. I moved from California to Texas. Didn't know a single person, and I moved thinking that I was going to continue to do business the same way that I was. I had to reinvent myself in Texas, right? Because everything is new home construction here. So they're going to the new home builders, right? So rather than say, oh, the market sucks, I'm not going to be able to do anything, I'm like, hey, I got this profit and loss loan. There's a lot of people that own businesses here. I wonder how many of them are getting declined because they're not going to qualify for traditional financing. I went to every single new home builder and in 3 weeks, I hit up every single new home builder. I said, I'm the guy that you're going to call when your deals are falling out of escrow. And the sky was falling on some of these deals. And I was able to then become the non QM guy, right? So
Yeah.
again, it's like create the opportunity. Don't wait for things to happen, right? So now, granted, I'm not originating as much as I want to anymore. Not even as much as I want to. I don't want to originate. Like I got too much gray hairs. Like, I got 3 kids. I'm like, hey, 5 o'clock, I'm going to soccer practice. And if somebody calls me, you can wait until next day.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And that was a big guilt that you and I talked about, like working through is like,
yeah.
yeah, okay, moving into this space that you and I are doing at the level that we're doing, you're on
Mhm.
fire right now, and you're serving lenders across the United States with the CRM trainings, the Go High Level stuff, the AI bot. I mean, everything you're doing is so great. But we had a little bit of guilt, right? Like moving away
Yep.
from that. Like my Facebook ads, people were oh, well, it's easy. Rates went up, so go become a coach. You think when rates are going up, stepping into the coaching world and helping people be okay with spending money on coaching and Facebook ads and systems and CRMs and Canva and all the cool stuff that's
Yeah.
out there for us, you think that's easier than just going out there and me just
It's
doing what
harder.
I do best?
It's harder
Well,
because you basically shift, right? So, like, I mean, we talked about it because I still got the awards behind me. I know you got the top producer awards too, but it's like, it's basically reinventing while we're similar. Like I told you this, I want my name to be synonymous with mortgage and automation, right? I want the very first thing when you think is automating mortgage, Jonathan Ferrell, right? 2 years ago, I had zero clout in that, zero. And I know for you too, you took the step where you're like, hey, I want to make this like if I think mortgage coach, I think Tiffany Rose because you then taken that and built it, right? Like you built it from scratch. Like, yeah, we had clout because yeah, we have awards behind us and like, yeah, we've done this stuff before. But now it's like I need to now take that and then help others implement that, right? And like
yeah.
I think mortgage and coaching synonymous with Tiffany Rose because of the brand that you've taken the time to grow and build this empire over time. It was not an overnight thing. Like I've seen your ads for years, Tiffany, right? It's like before we even met, I'm like, oh, there's Tiffany, Tiffany Rose coaching. And
I
it's like,
love that you told me that too. You were hyping me up. I'm like, yes, okay, my ads are reaching tons
yeah,
of
like
loan
I mean,
officers.
I'm
Great.
still originating. I get your ads on Facebook, but I mean, like I was seeing those even as like every like from for years I've seen your stuff because you've been able to grow and build that brand, right? And it's honestly become synonymous with coaching mortgage professionals, right? But that took time, a lot of time, right? Same thing as the automation side. It's like, I started and I basically was like, hey, I built the system for me. Now I got to strip it down and like find a way to build it for other people and help other people. And now, thankfully, I've gotten hundreds of video testimonials of like, different people that I've helped, which is awesome. Like, yeah, that helps build it, but it's taken a lot of time and effort. Like, I've honestly put more time and effort into this business than I have in the mortgage industry, which is crazy, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely. But would you agree that we love it? I absolutely love what I'm doing now. And I had a great run doing loans. And trust me, my finger's still on the pulse because I coach students every Thursday and we talk about what are rates doing, what are you charging for credit reports,
Yeah.
what's this, what's that, what's the biggest challenge, what's the biggest win. So we still are in the game. It's just we're playing at a different level. And I really had to tell myself, a millionaire will never judge you for trying when I first started coaching because I had these limiting beliefs that, well, what about the competition that have been coaches forever? Well, here's what I had to make peace with. Russell Brunson positioned himself against the market because he started realizing that he was onto something bigger and ahead of the curve, while the other people were teaching something that no longer was relevant or was too
Correct.
confusing. So that's why I think he used to call something like the confusion. He rhymed it. I'm like, God, can't you get sued for that? But I had to come to grips with the people that are out there coaching the old school stuff. They would never have me on stage at events and Housing Wire and this and that because they're teaching the coffee appointments, the cold calls. Why do you think it is? So two more questions for you. Why do you think it is that our industry is like still telling us like why aren't they talking about one-to-many marketing and automations, and why is it still the same tired door knocking, cold calling, open house touring? Why do you think that is? Do they think we're not capable or what?
Um, That is a great, honestly, I think that they don't think we can do it.
That's yeah.
Like I personally think that like I see myself as a loan originator, but I'm a business owner, right?
Yeah.
And like
You are
that's
the
how
entrepreneur of your
I've seen
business.
myself,
Right.
right? But they see me as, oh no, you're an employee, right? So we're gonna put these limitations on what you can do. Where then, and don't get me wrong, I started with open houses, right? Like I sat the open houses. I brought flyers on Saturdays and Sundays, but then I was like, this doesn't work. Like I'm getting stuff on a very small basis.
Well, and it was all that was available back then, and it was
Yeah,
so it's
now
like, hey, it's just reactive, but that's the only thing we can do. But now there's this whole world out there that 4 hours at an open house, you can spend 4 hours on a training call with you, Jonathan, and rock it out, figure out, setting up a lead magnet, connecting something with AI, pre-scheduling some content. What you can do in 4 hours
no, it's
is
nuts.
is
And what we can do
it's
now with AI is even crazy. I'm like, I used to spend days writing copy for a funnel on my
yep.
there's a new AI bot. It's not new, but it's starting to get well more known. Manus AI. It could build your lead magnet for you in seconds. Full PDF, fully branded for you, ready to rock. Right?
Mhm.
In seconds. That used to take me days to build that. Right? So that's where we have to use the available technology now. That allows for us to explode and duplicate and replicate ourselves. Right?
Yeah.
And the people who don't implement that are the people who will fall behind.
So where do you think, Jonathan, where do you're on fire. You've already moved into being known as when you think mortgage, you think Jonathan, when you think automation, you think Jonathan. So everybody reaches that terror barrier that you got to pop through to get to the next income ceiling or the next push through that next big project that you're implementing. Where, how did you push through? What was your last terror barrier that you popped through and how did you do it?
For the mortgage industry,
Yeah.
it was honestly for me, it became an education process and I became a
Mm,
content generating machine. So I got to a point where I was comfortable paying somebody to create the content for me. I hired a full-time videographer who literally followed us around recording, and we just built content, and it was helpful content. And we got to a point, our podcast, because I had a podcast, we had 1,000 subscribers in our local area. I would show up to an event and they would be like, "Hey, I just listened to your podcast with so and so. That was awesome."
so good.
I'm like, "I don't even know who you are." It's like, so again, once it
Parasocial relationship you built,
correct,
right?
and I've gotten away from that. I know, like, but in all honesty, like that's what we have to do, because if they don't know who you are, they can't refer you, right? And if they don't know who you are, they can't say, "Hey, I need you to talk." If they don't know what you do, they can't refer you, right? And so we just kept posting so much social media content, and it was dumb. Like if you go to my YouTube for my old office, like we posted office style videos just to have fun, and it we got leads from it. And it was like, like we recorded our award ceremony, and I was pretending to be Michael Scott. That was super dumb. We got 4 leads from that video. It's just like, hey, take the chance, do it, just do it. You have to. If you hesitate, you're not going to get any further, right? So just take the action and take massive amounts of action in doing it.
Well, Jonathan, the attention is the new currency, and we didn't have that luxury in 2009, 10, back in 2000 when I got licensed. It's like, what does that even mean? But with video, it's millions of times more effective than nothing, of course, or just sending
Correct.
a text or making a phone call. With video, CRMs, email nurture sequences, AI, having actual plan, a blueprint in your
Mm-hmm.
day, knowing the difference between needle movers and like the normal things you do every day, you can like align that, map it out, like you said earlier, and just continue to take, like, practice the law of right action. You will be unstoppable in any market, no matter what the hell rates are doing, no matter
Correct.
what company you work at, no matter what. you will be unstoppable. It's just taking away the things that no longer serve you and implementing the new non-dinosaur approach. So,
Correct.
Jonathan, I'm so excited. I knew you were my go when I saw the 10x rule and your awards in the background. I'm like, President's Club, hell yeah. I know some of you listening can't see it, but you and I are so like-minded, and I'm so excited that we got connected and that we're both headed in the same direction because two minds equals three, right?
Yep, absolutely. That's how we got to make it happen. But Tiffany, I thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And thank you for honestly what you do in the mortgage industry as well, because I know you've helped change a lot of people's careers. So it's always good to see that. So
Doing my best, one person at a time, that's for sure. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next CRM training. So,
absolutely.
Jonathan, how does somebody get a hold of you if they want to reach out for CRM build outs, any of your automation AI training services you offer? Go for it.
So jonathanferrell.com, that's got my whole repertoire of what to do. Call me, text me, book a coaching call, that kind of stuff. I also created a community called automatedlo.com. And the whole premise is to train mortgage professionals in automation. So that's a free community. I have a weekly call. The community that's growing. I haven't even publicly announced it yet. This is my public announcement, but we already have 120 LOs in there. So, and we have some heavy hitters in there too that are offering a ton of value. So,
Love
again,
it.
those are the two ways to get a hold of me. So,
Hey, you're average of the five people you hang out with, so go hang out with high producing LOs and just emulate them, right?
yep, absolutely. So,
Love it. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you guys for listening. And if you want to reach me, just go into the bottom of this podcast or in the YouTube bio and email my team, show up to the next events, and let's rock it out together. So thanks again, Jonathan. You're the best.
thanks, Tiffany.
Thanks
Bye.
for listening, guys. Bye.